Rachel, I'm a carnival keeper here at Chester, and welcome back to our virtual zoo day here at Chester, and welcome to the painted dog exhibit. So I'm going to introduce you to our dogs right now. So we've got our 8 painted dogs just through here. We've got our alpha female just over there on the left. Her name is Kamana and she's 6 years old. And then we've also got our alpha male in the group at the moment, but you can't quite see him. He's called Veal and he's 8 years old. And then the other 6 dogs are made up of all their offspring. So we've got 3 girls and 3 boys. So you're very lucky to be here today because it is actually their feed day. And very shortly we're going to be going through and letting them into their paddock where their food is waiting for them. They're all just waiting to be let through. Right, so if you want to follow me through, and I'll let the team know and the dogs can be let loose onto their food. So if you look through this window here, you can see the carcass of beef, around 30 kilos, and any minute now the dogs will be running through and making very short work of that feed. Carnival 4, Carnival 1. Ready when you are. Here we go. So today these guys are being fed some beef, but they also get fed deer as well, and they get fed every other day. And as you can see, they are eating a carcass, which is really, really important to them in lots of ways. So it's really good for them nutritionally, so it gives them the bones and the different cuts of meat, and occasionally the odd organ as well. So good for them nutritionally, but also it's really important for them behaviourally. You can see they're all working together as a pack and tearing that carcass apart, and it's really good for them in terms of forming bonds and that social structure. So in the wild, these guys would hunt more medium-sized antelopes, such as impala, Thompson's gazelle, greater kudu, but they've also been known to take down things like wildebeest and even speedy little warthogs as well. These guys are incredible hunters. They're one of the most successful carnivores in the world when it comes to hunting. Once they have a prey in sight and targeted, it very rarely gets away. They can run really long distances on very coordinated and almost planned hunts, up to around 35 miles an hour. So you can see visually they're quite distinct, so they've got these very unique markings, and they are unique to each dog, the black, the tan and the white patterning, so it makes it a lot easier for us to tell them apart. And they've got these big white bushy tails which are thought to help them keep in contact with each other when they're running at high speeds through the savannas of Africa. And they've got these big satellite shaped Mickey Mouse style ears which are quite unique to these guys, and give them fantastic hearing abilities, particularly when they've got such a wide variety of vocalizations. So they've just managed to rip that off from where we'd anchored it down. You've got our alpha female on the right over here with one of the young pups. He's called Asani. These pups are actually 2.5 years old now. We still call them pups, but they are in fact adults. And the alpha male and female, the alpha male is just coming over now towards the alpha female. This is Veal. And we're really hoping that as they are part of a really important breeding programme, one day we might breed some more pups from these guys. And that's mostly because these guys are incredibly endangered, and they're one of the most endangered animals in the world. There's only around 6,600 of them left out in the wild. And that sounds like quite a big number, but when these guys live in such big packs, they can live in packs of up to around 40 dogs, more commonly seen around 20, but they can live in very big packs with only one breeding pair, the alpha male and female. 6,600 isn't really that many. In fact, there's only around 1,400 mature individuals actively breeding. So It's quite a challenge for these guys, and quite a worrying number that is left. So the reason for them being in such a endangered species at the moment is mostly due to habitat loss through habitat fragmentation, which is where habitats are divided into much smaller habitats for various reasons, sometimes through natural causes such as floods and fires, but can quite often, and most often these days, is due to human impacts such as building of roads and agriculture, or even just general settlements. And this makes it much harder for dogs to get from one small habitat to another and disperse as a species. And it also reduces the amount of prey available to them, making them become more in competition with other large carnivores such as lions and hyenas. These guys often get mistaken for hyenas. People come to the zoo and ask where the hyenas are, but they are in fact painted dogs, and big differences with them is that painted dogs are in fact true canines, they are dogs, whereas hyenas are more closely related to felines if anything, but they are their own family of animal themselves. A difference between these guys and your domestic dog at home is these guys have actually only got 4 toes on their front feet. They're missing their dew claw, compared to your dog at home will have their dew claw slightly higher up, their 5 toes. And obviously they live in big packs and they are very, very dangerous, so they are very different. Other big problems these guys face, for the fact that they live in much closer quarters to people than they used to, is that they have human-wildlife conflict, where these guys are persecuted for killings of livestock. They're poisoned, snared, shot by farmers, and often it's not always painted dogs that have killed the livestock. It could be other big carnivores, but they're often blamed for it. And if an alpha pair is unfortunately killed within a pack, then it can be quite detrimental to the future of that pack. And another big problem these guys face, if they haven't got enough already, is actually disease. So living closer to people, unvaccinated, domesticated dogs often carry lots of diseases such as rabies or canine distemper. And if a painted dog was unlucky enough to catch hold of this disease through domesticated dogs, it could wipe out a whole pack, not just that one dog, which is a really, really worrying thing. These guys face some really complicated and challenging things out in the wild, and we really hope that we as a zoo can really help to support them in lots of ways. So some of the ways that we're trying to help them here at the zoo, we support lots of projects out in Africa. But one that we do support for these guys is out in Mkomazi, Sava region of Tanzania, and it's where we're looking into potential vaccinations for unvaccinated domestic dogs, as well as looking into breeding and release of wild dogs out there into more protected and valuable areas, which they'll be really important to the local ecosystem. These guys are so important to ecosystems. They pick off sick and injured individuals that keep an ecosystem thriving and healthy. So we've got our alpha female now, she's just tucking into that carcass still. On the right, she's just pulled a bit up, and our alpha male's just wandering over towards them. So often you'll see Veal, he'll hold back a little bit, he'll allow the pups to get in there, and that's a really important part of painted dog society, is that they look out for each other. They're such a close-knit team. If we'd only put a slab of beef down there or any sort of processed food, it would have been eaten in minutes, whereas you can see how long this carcass is taking them. They'll be chewing on this carcass for the next 24 hours. And one defence mechanism these guys have against lions and other top predators out in Africa is to eat fast, is to gorge feed, is to fill up as much as they possibly can, just in case any other predators come along and they have to abandon their kill. So that's why they're tucking in very quickly, even though they don't have to worry about that here. It's Naru just walking past. She's a very pretty dog. Kamana, the one with her back stood up with her back to you, the alpha female, she's obviously eating off that carcass with another dog. That's Hassani still, and we feel as though Hassani is one of the higher ranking pups. Keep calling them pups, but he is an adult. Everyone's starting to get nice full bellies. This dog that's just run over Kendi with his big black stripe down his tail, he's got a really football shaped belly now. I'll have a really good sleep this afternoon. They're all starting to look a bit more satisfied. They're not being quite as frantic as they were. So it's really great that you're able to join us here at the zoo, particularly as we're closed at the moment. Very strange for the dogs not seeing people all the time, but it's very strange for us too, because we are a charity and it has been very difficult for us through these hard times. And particularly our animals do really rely on people coming to the zoo, which obviously we're not allowed to do at the moment, but really hope that very soon those restrictions can be lifted and people can come back and see our wonderful animals and keep supporting us, because as you all know, being a charity, 97% of our income comes from people coming to the zoo, so it's making things very tough for us at the moment. But if anyone does want to support us at all, there is a Just Giving page online, which is accessible through our Facebook page quite easily. And yeah, we really appreciate all the support that we've been getting so far. It's yeah, really important, particularly for these guys. the male veal is enjoying a bit of peace and quiet over here away from the screaming youngsters. Lucky girl. These guys obviously got fed today, but they'll have a non-feed day tomorrow, and then we'll be feeding them again on Sunday, and they potentially have a bit of deer on Sunday, which will have lots of fur and some lovely organs there for them as well. It's around 30 kilos that they've just tucked into. These guys themselves weigh around 20 to 30 kilos themselves. Veal's quite a big dog, he weighs around 26 kilos. Very much left on those carcasses now. Okie doke, well I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us again. I really hope you've enjoyed spending your lunchtime with the painted dogs here at Chester Zoo. And if you tune back in at 1 o'clock, hopefully you'll see some cassowaries.